Today we're taking a look at a fairly new addition to the Phoibos collection. This is the Phoibos Nebula, or model PY030C. And as you can see, it's the blue and gold version. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The Nebula is going for $390, and this is pretty much on every single website that I looked at. So the Phoibos website, eBay, other watch websites, it's going for $390. I paid around $350, but that was because I requested a discount, and I highly encourage all of you, before you ever buy any watch, just send the owner of the channel, of the store, a quick email asking if there are discounts available, and most of the time they are willing to budge just a little bit on the price. Starting off with the case diameter, that comes in at 39.3 millimeters, and it goes up to 42.9 millimeters if we include the crown. Case thickness comes in at 11.2 millimeters, with a lug-to-lug of 46.5 millimeters and a lug width of 20 millimeters. For weight, the Nebula is 150 grams or 5¼ ounces, which might not seem like a lot for those of you that aren't familiar with watch weight, but that is quite a hefty package considering the dimensions. But I think it's a really good thing, because while the watch is a little bit compact, it's still very dense, and it has that slight heft to it, letting you know that there is some power behind the tiny frame. And here's how it sits on my 7.5-inch wrist. Starting off, the Nebula comes with a Miyota 9015 automatic hacking movement. So what this means is you're getting a movement that's got the 3 hands and also a date window. In this case, it's at the 6 o'clock position. The 9015 movement is rated for -10 to +30 seconds a day, which, you know, for all intents and purposes is nowhere close to, I guess, some people's standards of accuracy. But you also got to understand that that is probably a more conservative rating, and realistically you're going to see much more accurate levels of timekeeping. It's also got 28,800 beats per hour and also a 42-hour power reserve. Case material along with the bracelet is the 316L stainless steel. And moving on inward, that crystal is going to be a sapphire crystal, and it's also got 3 layers of anti-reflective coating. And right next to the crystal, you've got a screw down crown, and then on the other side, you've got that beautiful screw down case back. Going back to the front of the watch, underneath the crystal, you've got a sandwich style dial, and for the indices, we've got 15 layers of BGW9 Superluminova applied to it. And even though this is labeled as a sport watch, it still comes with 150 meters of water resistance, which I think is absolutely fantastic. The 15 layers of BGW9 lume is beautifully done here. The turquoise markers on the chapter ring and the almost chartreuse indices make the watch look like an alien creature you might find at the bottom of the ocean, like in the film The Abyss. I will say that for whatever reason, my Nebula does not have the long-lasting, in-your-face brightness that I'm used to with my other watches that have BGW9 lume. It's not a deal killer at all, it's just something I noticed. Like I said before, the Nebula has a sandwich dial. The nickname comes from multiple layers being sandwiched together, resulting in the indices having the appearance of cutout stencils. I feel that the choice to go with a sandwich design was the right one to make, because it results in the watch having a beautifully fun 3-dimensional depth. The effect is made even more apparent by the vertically brushed and faded background color. Just like the Phoibos Eagle Ray I reviewed earlier, the Nebula also has the radium style hour and minute hands, which I really like. They're not too aggressive, but not too short either. Precise enough to easily tell the time while sweeping across the face like little lightsabers on your wrist. I also really like the old radium lume paint, which gives the indices that steampunkish-like patina. The weathered color of the indices along with the vibrant blue is a lot to take in on a fairly small watch face, but personally I absolutely love it. As you can see, Phoibos opted to have a simple and highly brushed bezel as opposed to a ratcheting bezel. Considering that this is advertised as a sports watch, the lack of a rotating dial is acceptable. The brushed finish gives the watch a no-nonsense look to it and is very fitting for its intended purpose. The crown is of high quality construction. With it being a screw-down crown, the threading is machined well and allows for a very pleasant experience, whether you are hand-winding the mainspring or accessing the first or second crown position. It's also impressive how Phoibos was able to put such a detailed logo on such a small surface area. I love signed crowns, even more so when it's done right, and this is a perfect example of that. This is what you would call a Jubilee bracelet, and it is a fine example of how it should be done. Normally, it's widely accepted that Jubilee bracelets are flimsy and cheap feeling by nature, but in this case, you get the flexibility of a Jubilee bracelet and also the solid links more akin to a super engineer. The milled steel clasp adds another touch of quality that is missing in so many other watches. In my opinion, the bracelet is at least 40% of the entire watch experience, so it's very pleasing to have a great bracelet such as this. There's also 3 micro adjusts so you can get that perfect fit for long-term wearability. And speaking of adjusting, did I mention the screw pins? Are you serious? This bracelet could not get any better, and I don't even like Jubilee bracelets. The screw-down caseback reminds me of the Seiko Prospex Wave caseback. Not in similarity of design, but similarity in the level of quality, which is very good. You don't have any of that cheap laser etching here, only solid engravings. I really like how the octopus logo is like a permanent fixture of the watch and not something that might fade away over time. Plus, screw-down casebacks are just the greatest thing ever. It's like having a mini hatch to a submarine sitting right there on your wrist. Finishing is 10 out of 10. The main body of the watch has the appearance of a brushed finish with some touches of polished finishes around the edges and center links, giving you the appearance of a rugged tool sport watch that has the ability to moonlight as a dress watch. If you've made it this far into the review, I think I've made it blatantly obvious that I'm a fan of the Nebula. Which is surprising, because if you followed the channel for a while, you would know that this style of watch is not usually what I go for. I normally like the bigger, gaudier, and less elegant type watches. In this case, what initially caught my attention was the dial. Just like a peacock, the bright and vibrant blue really caught my attention and I knew I had to have it. Once I got it on wrist, the compact dimensions along with the density and solidness of the entire package made it an easy winner. I will say that I do think it's a bit overpriced. Perhaps it's $390 now just because it's new, but I would really like to see the Nebula retail for around $300, and then I think it would absolutely obliterate the competition. For what it's worth, I have a few Swiss-made watches worth a few $1,000s that, in my personal opinion, share similar levels of quality with this powerful little Hong Kong-made watch. Aside from the price, is there anything else I would change? Not really, but if I had to come up with something, then maybe it would be to change the 12, 3, and 9 o'clock indices to something more subtle. But as it stands, now I'm fine with the triangle shapes. So to sum it all up, I definitely recommend this watch. Maybe not right at the moment. If you can hold out for a little bit and wait for the price to come down, then I say wait. You may even be able to find one on the secondhand market, and it'll be like a safe queen from an impulse buyer for a really good deal. However, if you're impatient like me and you have to have one now, I say that without a doubt you will not be disappointed with the purchase. So that's all I have to say for now. I hope that this will help you with your next watch purchase. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Alright, bye.